also going to add a special tip on runner beans, a bit of information most people actually don't know about. Also, I'm here in the tunnel and my holding beds are doing fine. I have kale started in there. The kind of quinoa hasn't come up yet, but the endive is coming up, and also we have the turnip coming up as well. So I'm using this as a kind of a holding space, using beds that at the moment are not being used at all. So yeah, so maybe let's go and have a look at how to grow runner beans. Now the compost I'm using is certified organic. Don't get confused on, like, if they say organic compost on the label, that just means most of the time it's just organic. Try and get certified organic compost. The kind of pot size that I'm using is this pot here, and you can see my fist kind of goes in there quite well. It's quite a big, deep one. You don't need anything bigger than that, but do go for that kind of size. Now we start by actually cramming in as much compost as possible, and often, you know, people say, and I say as well, don't compact your soil, but this is different. Compost can't be compacted, and you want to get as much compost in there as possible. Now of course, don't cram it in too much. A lot of people kind of go for this kind of technique and that kind of settles it, but I would actually really kind of press it down a good bit, so it's kind of spongy. Now I'm gonna do all these pots here, which is about 15 pots, and then I'll just show you how to plant it up. It's very, very simple. Now what I've done is I've selected the best kind of, biggest kind of runner beans that I had from last year. I gave a lot of these away as well, and we also kind of sold a lot of these for the charity I help out with. Now this is kind of the seed packet it came from originally last year, which is the Black Knight runner bean. So I'm going to grow this variety again, and all you got to do is very, very simple. Just make a little hole, roughly about the depth of you know, where your joint of your finger is there. Press it in. Often, I mean, if I want to be quick about it, I'll just go like this, and just press it all in. It's very, very quick. And then all you have to do is add a bit more on top, press it down, and just water a little bit. Keep an eye on them. As soon as the roots start coming through to the bottom here, what you can do is you can start hardening them off and, you know, ready to be planted out. Now once you kind of brought out your runner beans to harden off, of course, you know, that just means taking them out once a day, extending the kind of period longer and longer, so that they kind of acclimatize to the kind of wind and things like that. And within about a week, it's ready to plant out. They're ready to plant out, and just provide them with some kind of climbing structure straight away. They love curling up a kind of a pole. People use kind of wigwam thingies, but I find they get very crowded. I would use a kind of a like 2 poles on either end of the bed, and then more kind of all the way along in the middle. Kind of where they join, put a kind of a pole, run a pole across it. And you can also kind of anchor them into place by taking kind of 2 ropes and using maybe 2 sticks in the ground at a cross kind of thing like that, and you can tie that onto them. Makes a great anchor, and that just means that they don't, you know, fall either way, because they're quite heavy once they grow quite strong. There's smaller varieties as well, which are the kind of a bush varieties, and they give a harvest kind of earlier. Some of these varieties can grow up to about 4 meters, I believe, so maybe 3 meters. I only ever provide something like 2.5 meters of cane, and I seem to be okay with the varieties I'm growing. Now looking at pests and diseases, the only problem we have here is the slug, because of the wet climate we have here. So do go out every night and check, and because they just love these kind of runner beans. I believe there's a pollen beetle as well that seems to affect runner beans. I don't know much about it because I've never come across it here. So if you have any kind of you know, knowledge on it, please, you know, throw it in the comment section below. And maybe as well, as a viewer, maybe you can like up that comment, because then it will be at the top and people can actually learn from it as well. So it won't be lost down below. Now, the thing with runner beans is they like a kind of very rich soil, so provide them with a lot of compost in the soil, or if you have a no-dig bed, it will take about 3 or 4 years before, you know, you have a nice thick layer of kind of mulch and kind of topsoil. Also, of course, I always say take out the stones, because especially with runner beans, they do like to go deep out into the soil with their roots. Also, another really important thing is pollination. You need to encourage pollinators into your garden. Bees are one of the most effective kind of insect species that will pollinate your runner beans. So I can never mention it enough. Try and get bees back into your garden. Become a beekeeper. It's not that difficult. It's very, very interesting and rewarding as well. And that's pretty much it. So we'll have now a look at this method, this kind of tip that I wanted to share with you. So let's have a look. Now, one thing a lot of people actually don't know about, and I actually didn't know about this until I tried this by just a little experiment, by sheer accident. I grew my runner beans the first year, and then in the second year what I did is I replanted them. And especially if the root is still alive, this one isn't, but I have one here that's actually still very much alive. So I can actually replant this runner bean root, this plant, and it will actually produce earlier runner beans. I don't have to go through the bother of sowing it in pots and so on, and then trying to get it to acclimatize outside. Usually as well, they're much hardier against slugs if you do it this way. Also, of course, it produces earlier in the season as well, about up to a month earlier. So this is a great way of getting that extra bit of runner beans early. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do share it on Facebook, because I kind of want to share this kind of information with more people. Would really appreciate it. It's just a good kind of medium to get your message across. Also, if you like this video, subscribe. I just want to say this because often people kind of do enjoy the video, they forget to rate it, and that kind of helps other kind of people to see how good the video is and is it worth watching as well. So thanks a lot, and I might see you again in another video.